So then, I guess moving on to the other movie, uh, we said we would be talking about Gandahar slash Light Years, uh, with Glenn Close and I think Christopher Plummer is in it.
I think so. I
Yeah,
think he might be the Metamorphosis,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah. So
He's one of them.
yeah, so that was another one that you had again because you stumped the chump. So we just decided because I what we do in the shadows was on my sort of short list of possible movies to recommend. So I suggested, okay, well, since you're already familiar with these two, why don't we just talk about that? Because I know that I have a lot to say about what we do in the shadows. So but yeah, Gandahar was one that I was not familiar with, even though I'd seen the director's other movie, Fantastic Planet, which is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. So I guess what is tell us a little bit about what Gandahar is about.
Okay. It's about I guess you'd call him an alien. Um, Man in well, okay, this is really hard to describe actually. Um, now now that now that you ask me to describe it, he has to travel back in time to save his planet, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's I think that's a good
a good way to describe
summation.
it without. Yeah, it's just I okay, I suggested it because I thought it was obscure enough to where you might not have seen it maybe. And also it was one of my favorites when I was a kid, even though it's not a movie for kids. Um, it was one of those rentals where like, you know, I mean, I'm old, so I used to rent stuff at like Turtles and Blockbusters and stuff. And so I would go into the animated section and I wouldn't realize that there was like a difference between cartoons and adult cartoons. So I used to rent these adult cartoons all the time by accident. And that was just one of them. And I just think it's fantastic. Like, my favorite characters are the unformed or yeah.
Yeah, the like weird deformed beings in the tunnels and all that.
Yeah, but I thought didn't they call themselves the unformed? They had a cute way of saying it.
I think it was
Um,
yeah the unformed something like that. Yeah.
yeah, and they're like they're so far out that they no longer they no longer identify with the past, present, or future. So everything is was will be.
hmm I really
Um,
liked that. That was a nice touch to that their sort of collective
yeah,
character.
yeah. Their consciousness is it doesn't lie in one specific realm, and their memory is of both the past and the future. Because if you watch the movie, it makes sense. So they everything they say is like, "You was will be Gandaharian, I was will be Hannah," and yeah, I just thought that was
It's a
the
very
coolest.
nice little character note.
Yeah.
Have you? So are you familiar then with? Because the only two movies I've seen from this director is Fantastic Planet and this. Now, is there more to his sort of filmography that you would have stumbled upon by seeing? I guess the adult animated films, or is it? Are you just familiar with Fantastic Planet in this from him?
Just those two. I really didn't delve into it at all.
Mm.
Um, but there's a possibility because I've seen a lot of old 80s, and I think that one wasn't that one even made in the 70s? No,
Uh,
80,
Fantastic Planet was definitely the 70s. I think this one was more
88 or something.
88. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, it's funny because I when I you kind of mentioned it earlier where I think that animation is kind of like stereotyped into being like a kids movie format and there's not really many adult like animated movies not in that way but like there's something to be said about like communicating a story through animation that it's a very I don't know the term for it a very sort of open and you can do whatever you want with it type of expression. And I think it's a shame that more adult-oriented movies don't really take advantage of that aspect of it. But I think that this filmmaker, he does a really good job using animation to the aid of his stories. He's very, very good at world building without much dialogue, and sort of crafting these very like familiar but very, very much alien sort of environments through his craft. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about this movie and his other film, Fantastic Planet. It's just so easy to get immersed in what he creates and just fall into it. Like all of his movies that I've seen just like fly by because it's just so you get so lost in it you almost don't want it to end by the time it's over.
He does an incredible job. Actually, I think the word that we were looking for is like grown-up films, not adult films.
Yeah, that's a much better way to say it. Yeah, that's
not adult films, but like movies for grown-ups that are animation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct ourselves.
Yeah, right. This isn't that kind of show yet. But yeah, no, I really, really like this movie a lot. Again, another thing that I think he does really well is his soundtracks. The music in this.
I was about to say that. Yeah, the people that did his soundtrack, that was the coolest soundtrack ever.
It's very, very epic.
So good. I think that's like half of the movie is just the soundtrack. It's just, and I looked up the composers and I've already forgotten their names. And I didn't realize that it was actually in French first.
Yeah, he's because I'm gonna butcher the name. It's René Laloux, I think, is the director. Fantastic Planet. He's a French director. The Fantastic Planet was in French, and then I guess they must have dubbed over this because they wanted to give it more of like a wider release. I would have if I had to guess why, but. Yeah, and I it's a shame because I literally have not heard about this film at all prior to you recommending it, and then when I saw that it was another one of his movies, I got really excited because I love Fantastic Planet so much. So, yeah, no, it's just, and again, like you said, the soundtrack it just aids in your ability to just get lost in it so much because again, a lot of the way that he kind of makes his movies is very much just there's the one kind of pet peeve I have when I'm watching a movie is if it's like a sci-fi or a futuristic setting, you fall into the trap of like having the characters need to like explain like what the technology is or what they're doing or what's going on, and he doesn't really hold your hand at all. Like it just is all completely visual, and the music just sucks you in. It's just so good.
You either go with it or you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, and it holds up. I watched it not too long ago. I watched it again, and I was just like, yeah, this is still good. It's like,
Yeah, the one other question I was gonna sort of ask was, I wish I had written it down, but I saw it in your demo reel. There was one performance that you had that was sort of like this futuristic character. You had like a laser coming out of your hand and like sort of like black makeup going down your chin that you were, I forget what it was, but it was I was a
cyborg.
You were a cyborg. Yeah, I hadn't seen that one. I only saw the clips of the demo reel, but did this movie influence that performance at all with the metal men and the way they sort of carry themselves?
No, but maybe it did subconsciously. Yeah, that one was called Dandelion, and that was a short film by director Chance White, written by Todd Jacobs. And I did the festival circuit, and I don't know where you can see it. But yeah, that trailer was badass, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I love that trailer. That was fun. I played such a freak in that movie, and I enjoyed it a lot. That that makeup that they did and the prosthetic with the laser, with laser beams coming out of my forehead. They painted my ears black, and they painted inside my ears black, and it took so long to get that paint out. And I tried to get some of it off before I was going to drive home, and I couldn't get it all off. And I was just like, whatever, it'll come off in the shower. I'm just going to go home. And I'm just like at the gas pump, still half in wardrobe with this crazy black makeup on, and laser beams coming out of my forehead. And I just remember trying to hide in a hoodie. I didn't get like, questioned. And then another time, actually, this has happened to me 3 times. So when I was coming back from shooting the role of Satan or the Antichrist or whatever it's a silly Antichrist, by the way. It's not like a villain.
Again, another one I'll have to check out if I can find it.
Yeah. In Robert's movie, I had like this upside down cross type makeup across my entire face. It's really goofy. Anyway, I had gotten most of it off, but then again, I was tired and it's been a long day, and I was just like, I'll just shower when I get home, and I literally got pulled over. I don't drive poorly. I really don't. It was just like, sorry, I'm an actor. This is just, I got most of it off, but it's just, I just looked like a crazy person. There was another instance. Well, actually, this was, if you want to know, this was the first movie that I did when I was a teenager.
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
It was a comedy, and it was about these crooks that were very bad at what they did, and they owed money to a loan shark. And they would dress up in these different costumes and try to rob this bank. And I was the bank teller and also the love interest, and of one of the main crooks. And so they would dress up in these different outfits, and they do like the presidents, and then this one was they dressed up as the Klan, and they had all these big, heavy-looking, completely fake weapons, and they were going into the building. That was the bank building, and some people driving by thought that the Klan was actually doing something to this poor building with all these scary looking. I mean, the weapons did not really look like weapons; they looked like some Star Wars crap. But anyway, like really over the top, silly looking. But so the police show up, and they walk in, and they're like reaching for their guns, or firearms, whatever you call them, and they're like, take off your hoods, and I'm just cringing behind my fake desk, like, oh my. And so all the guys pull off their Klan hoods, and like half of them are black, and the cops are just like,
what?
And we're like, we're making a movie, see? And like the camera was still going, so they actually got the cops on footage. And it was so funny. Their reaction, and then the police just started cracking up. And it was just, so that was another instance of movie making, indie movie making with police involvement.
That'd be an amazing blooper to track down. If anyone knows if that blooper exists anywhere, I would love to see that.
I think they were shooting on film. I think they were shooting on proper film. So I don't know. I see, like, that movie. I said that movie never got made, but I could reach out. That was one of Ben Morgan. Ben Barack is another name he goes by, but film that he was making. And I think he actually. I heard a rumor they actually did finish it and it did well in Nigeria, but I think that's a lie. I don't believe that. But, that's like 20 years old now, so.
Oh, man. Well, either way, it's a hilarious story. And all of that is to say that Gandahar is a great animated film that a lot of people should check out if they get the chance. I'm not sure. What's that?
Was I not supposed to go off on tangent?
No. I love that. I love when that happens. It's it happens again way more often than where I'll spark it. But yeah, no, it would. Those were really funny stories. I liked hearing that. But yeah, no. So Gandahar, that's another. I wish that there was an easier way to find it, but the way I watched it, I'm sure you can buy a DVD of it, but there was a version of it on YouTube that I was able to watch. So if you want to go check it out, I guess go find it on YouTube. Again, I'm sure there's a DVD available. Definitely support these movies any way that you can. Even though I don't think the director's even alive anymore. Actually, that's probably not a good thing to support the work. Yeah, no, okay. So, yeah, no, definitely go check out Gandahar, Fantastic Planet's also great. We talked about that movie back in episode 16. And, yeah, no, René Laloux he's an amazing director, and I love anything he does. So thank you very much for exposing me to that film. It was a very, very good experience, and I liked it a lot.
I'm glad. Yeah, I didn't even think about how you might come about finding it. I still have it on VHS.
Oh wow! Is it like the instance where it's like the video store closed down and you still have like the sticker on it where it's like "Be kind, rewind," or is that?
I don't remember. Maybe.
It's such a relic. Because I was around for the sort of the tail end of like what as video stores were going out of style, but I really wish that those were more readily accessible. There's just something like, I don't want to say magic, but there's definitely like this like good feeling about like going to a store and like you said, like walking through the aisles and seeing all the posters and the DVD covers and just being like, oh man, which one of the, like you don't get the same effect when you're just scrolling through Netflix or Amazon Prime. It's
a lost feeling. I don't think that the next generations are gonna have any idea. There should be a word for that in German. You know, like the feeling of walking through Blockbuster and appreciating tiny boxes.
I wish.
So, like the sheer joy of it.
Yeah. It's the kids these days will never know.
We should make up a word for it, like, I don't know, like cinema Vergnügen.
Yeah, perfect. Now the Merriam-Webster people, if you're listening, go back and
Nein, she butchered it.